My name is Matt Goodwin, and I want my country back. And there are lots of journalists in the room who will say, well, who do you want your country back from? I want my country back from the politicians, Labour and Tory, who thought it was acceptable to impose an extreme policy of mass uncontrolled immigration on our country, a policy which nobody in this country ever voted for. I want my country back from a Labour Prime Minister who this week said, I am going to protect children in this country by stopping them from drinking energy drinks, while at the same time allowing hundreds of thousands of unvetted migrants from across the country and putting them in the heart of our communities, next to schools, next to families, while not telling the British people the truth about what is going on. I want my country back from the luxury belief class who Poppy just mentioned, middle class Guardianistas who just wrote a letter saying if you talk about sexual violence, you are weaponizing the issue. These are the same people who said nothing about the 12-year-old girl in Birmingham who was raped by 2 asylum seekers, who said nothing about the 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton who was raped by asylum seekers, who said nothing about the 10-year-old girl in Stockport who was nearly kidnapped by a man from Sudan, who said nothing about the 8-year-old in Lambeth who was raped by an asylum seeker from Pakistan, who said nothing about the pensioner Terence Carney who was murdered by an asylum seeker from Morocco while he was going on his morning walk in Hartlepool, who said nothing about Thomas Roberts, the young British man in Bournemouth, the aspiring Marine who was murdered by an illegal asylum seeker from Afghanistan. I am going to weaponize these issues all day long until we start putting the security and the safety of British people and our children first. Honestly, these people are unbelievable. The English philosopher Roger Scruton once said that a nation is not just a set of laws, it's not just a set of documents. A nation is our home. And what the Uniparty in this country have done, Labour and the Conservatives, is they've destroyed our home. That is what they've done. Now, if you invited an architect into your home to redesign your home and that architect destroyed your home, you would not invite that architect back. So why on earth would you ever vote for the Uniparty again? Why would you do that? Let me just be clear about one thing that everybody here needs to really understand. I know many of you do. Boris Johnson and the Tories betrayed this country, and they betrayed their voters. They came into power saying they would lower overall numbers, and they did the exact opposite by opening the floodgates to masses of low-wage, low-skill, poorly educated migrants from outside of Europe. 81% of all migration into the UK today comes from outside of Europe, from Afghanistan, Pakistan, China, Uzbekistan, Nigeria, Eritrea. How do you make a home out of that? Anybody who has been reading the research on mass immigration knows it is making us poorer. Even the Office for Budget Responsibility accepts this. Even David Miles, the leading member of the OBR on migration, accepts this. The Danish Finance Ministry have shown this. The Finnish government have shown this. The Dutch academic Jan van der Beek has shown this. The only people who haven't figured out what's going on are BBC Verify. The evidence is overwhelming. Mass immigration is making us poorer, it's making us more divided, and as Poppy said, it is putting our children at risk. Rob Bates from the Centre for Migration Control, who I have on my show regularly, has done more than anybody in this country to show us what is going on. by submitting freedom of information requests to the state, by forcing the state to tell us what is going on in our own country. This is the same state that accuses you of misinformation while hiding information from you about what is going on in your own country. It's absolutely absurd. And what the Centre for Migration Control and Rob Bates have shown is that we have a major problem with immigration from outside of Europe that is putting women and girls and children up and down these islands in jeopardy. It has to stop. So what do? This party will end mass, uncontrolled immigration. That's simple. This party will end it. This party will leave, not just talk about reforming, not just tinkering with Article 8 like Yvette Cooper, who is going down in history as the most incompetent Home Secretary we've ever had. We will leave the European Convention on Human Rights. And no, that won't turn us into Belarus and Russia. It will turn us into Canada and Australia and America and New Zealand and every other country that actually controls its borders. The other thing we will do is repeal Tony Blair's Human Rights Act. It's got to go. And this is usually the bit where somebody on Newsnight pops up and says, well, human rights, as if this country was born in 1997. We have a rich tradition of rights in this country going back 2,000 years. It appears that nobody in Westminster seems to know this. We do not need Tony Blair's legislation to maintain and protect rights. And this is the only party that will detain and deport every single illegal migrant that arrives in this country. Because know one thing, we are winning the argument. Everybody can see it. That's why Labour are so nervous. That's why the Tories are not on life support anymore. Somebody just flipped the switch. It's game over. They're on 15% of the national vote. It's over. This party right here has got more support in the national polls today than Labour and the Tories combined. It's a revolution. So just walk away from today knowing there is a policy programme to fix this complete and utter catastrophe that has been imposed upon us. It's radical, but it's completely in line with where voters are. There are millions of people out there who think exactly the same as us. Westminster likes to make us think we're the fringe minority while not realising that they're the fringe minority. The people who are protesting on the streets, the people who are raising the flags, the people who are voting for reform, this is all an act of resistance. An act of resistance to mass uncontrolled immigration, to broken borders, and to an elite class that has stopped respecting the British people. Enough is enough. Vote reform. Take your country back.